Good morning, everybody. You are watching In and Around Lake Forest. I'm Steve Smith. I'm your host, and this bi-weekly program is brought to you by the Lake Forest Chamber of Commerce. Now, we do this because we want to introduce not only new chamber members, but businesses who have been here in Lake Forest or doing business in Lake Forest for quite a while. And our goal is to give them some visibility and let everybody else in the business community know who they are and what they do, so that maybe they can collaborate and you can just get to know a little bit more about the folks that are providing products and services in your community. Now, we've been doing this for, 3 years now. And even though we only do it twice a month, we have an absolute massive library of interviews with all kinds of businesses over those last couple of years. So all you have to do is go to the Lake Forest Chamber Facebook page and go to the video section, and you can scroll through that and you can see all kinds of interviews of entrepreneurs, people working in county positions, and in the city of Lake Forest and things like that. We try to cast a pretty wide net, but we always want to make it central to Lake Forest. So again, thanks for watching us today. Now, the person that we're going to have on is a lady by the name of Emily Bishop, and she is currently the general manager for StretchLAB in Foothill Ranch. She is in love with building community and showing others the path to a more flexible lifestyle. She also lives in San Juan Capistrano with her husband and her 3 teenage daughters and their pit bull. Now, she's got a really interesting path. She has been a franchise manager in the health and wellness sector for over 9 years, and she's managed kickboxing gyms, wellness centers that house cryotherapy and detox saunas, and she's even managed her own kickboxing training and health coaching business. So this is going to be interesting to have her on and just explain the benefits of stretching and staying flexible as a way to just combat, aging and all the other things that we run into that prevent us from being our best, most healthy selves. So let us bring Emily on now and get to know her a little better and get to know what StretchLAB does.
Hello there.
Hi, Emily. Welcome to the program.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, let's just make sure we get your video on. Are you seeing yourself on there?
Sorry about that. Clicked. Perfect.
There you go. Perfect. Well, thank you for being here. We've been really excited to have you on. I know after the ribbon cutting we had up there, I didn't really know much about StretchLAB, so now I feel like I have a better understanding. And the reason we're having you on today is so you can tell the whole Lake Forest community what StretchLAB does and why you got into it and things of that nature. So I teed up your biography just a little bit, but what I'd really like to know is what led you down the path of getting into this type of business?
Yes, absolutely. I have always loved health and wellness. It has been a lifelong love. I actually started out as a 24-hour fitness instructor several years ago. My youngest daughter is 14, so maybe about 12 years in this industry. I just started working out and did all those types of things, fell in love with kickboxing. And that led me into managing a kickboxing studio. I was fortunate enough to fall in with an owner who really just sort of saw potential in me. I cultivated that, taught me how to hire people and do all these types of things. It was almost like the health and wellness was, the thing that I did best, and then cultivated that manager type in me. So that was a lot of fun. And then it sort of took off from there. I started to enjoy what franchise management meant as far as building team and community. I saw an opportunity to become a staple in communities all across Orange County. It's unique that small business and something like that can provide jobs and all sorts of things like that for people. I kind of took a step out of that for a moment and went and worked for the Anaheim Ducks organization. But that was just another step in the right direction in teaching me how to effectively manage people, even at a big level.
So
I know
tell me, because I know you had this written down. What was it like to be out on the ice driving that Zamboni? Because
oh,
anytime we've ever gone to a hockey game, and they have intermission, and then the Zamboni goes out there and kind of refreshes the ice, I can hear people all around me saying, "God, I wish I could drive that thing."
it was the best thing ever. I recently had the opportunity to go back to Great Park Ice, which is where I worked, and
Mhm.
I miss it. Honestly, I feel like sometimes I could just, maybe go do that part-time and just drive
Right.
it to one. But it's
You're
calming.
living everybody else's dream at that
Yeah.
point.
Yes. And it's scary and it's weird and it's a massive piece of machinery.
Yes,
Um,
I bet.
that definitely takes a unique skill that I did not even reach the level of some of my coworkers at the time, but it
Wow.
was so much fun. Yeah.
Neat. Okay, so tell us what StretchLAB is. I mean, how did it get started? What was the original idea for creating a franchise business to basically help people stretch?
Yeah. So StretchLAB is part of a bigger group of sister stores. We all are under what we call Exponential Fitness. Started actually, the first store was in Laguna Niguel right here in California.
Hmm.
Started by the people who now head up the company. Amazing, amazing people. You have Austin Martinez, who is an amazing educator, and Verdine Baker, who's the president of the company. They just care so much about what StretchLAB represents. And it really was just part of this bigger picture with health and wellness to present it not only to California and Orange County, but to go global. They started StretchLAB and just wanted it to grow in a big way. And now it's even on Princess Line cruises. You'll find StretchLABs
Nice.
or stuff like that. Yes, 100%. So now, I mean, some of our sister stores are Club Pilates and Yoga Six and Row House and those types of things. So it's just so
Okay.
much fun. Um, oh, did I lose you there? I might have lost you.
Nope, you're here. You're still on.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. So StretchLAB, though, in general, it's an open concept studio where we invite clients of all sorts of different walks of life and where they're at in their own health journey to come in and do a one-on-one assisted stretching with a flexologist. The flexologist
Hmm.
is what we call our stretch experts.
All right. So look, I'm going to just throw this out because I'm sure a lot of people are thinking the same thing, which is, you know what, if I want to stretch, I can stretch in my backyard. So what's the benefit of having a stretch expert help you with your stretching?
Yes. So having a flexologist be able to come up with a plan and be able to hear everything that you go through day in and day out. We have people who come in, I commute 2 hours to work. I work at
Hmm.
a desk because I work from home. So I have to remind myself to stand up. I've tried stretching on my own and just to get up and move, and it just is not working. I still have sciatic issues, knee issues, ankle issues. So then they come to us usually as like, how I feel like there's something here. How can you help me? And then after that first stretch where there's a full assessment where everyone in the studio, including our front desk team, are asking the questions just to get to know this person and how we can help them, put them on the table. The flexologist helps them achieve a deeper stretch than they could ever achieve on their own.
Hmm.
Um, I tell people usually, you want to think of it almost like physical therapy. We're not going to be having you doing any exercises per se. But what we do though is we're it's all hands on, putting you in the stretches, holding it there for you, moving the body in a very safe and protected way to be able to achieve the stretches that, like I said, you just cannot achieve on your own.
Right. And so a typical appointment to have a flexologist help you with the stretching process, how long does that last? I mean, I'm just thinking about my older days of going to the gym and doing workouts and figuring you had to put in a certain amount of time in order to get any benefit out of it. So
Correct.
how much time does it take for stretching?
That is very dependent on each person. With anything, as again, someone I'm putting back on my personal trainer hat, like I had in the beginning, you have to give it time. This is not a one and done type of thing, although people can and have told us that they feel benefit right after the first stretch.
Hmm.
Um, we have people who have said, I finally was able to sleep after the first week of stretching with you guys. And that is just amazing. It really depends on what your body is needing. But we always tell people just 90 days, 90 days of trying your best to get here once a week. That's all it takes to really see a beginning and not necessarily an end, but a beginning and a progression point. We utilize all sorts of things to measure that progression as well. We have a machine called MAPS, which is actually something you stand in front of, and it will actually measure your body's muscles tightness, impingements going on in your joints, and those sorts of things.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And we are able to achieve different stretches in 25 minutes and 50-minute sessions.
Okay, so what about if you suffer from some degree of frozen joints, the shoulders or hips or things that just don't have the radial arc that they might have had when you were younger? Is this kind of stretching approach, does that help that, or is that not something that can affect joint movement?
It absolutely can. Again, this is where I would 100% defer to my flexologist. I may be an expert in my own way just from being in this world for so many years, but my flexologists are really those keen-eyed trained experts, the ones who have the kinesiology degrees, the ones who are working towards physical therapy degrees, the ones who have been personal trainers longer than I ever was. They're the ones who are really going to make those recommendations. Our goal, no matter what, is to keep people safe. That's our first and foremost goal. But yes, it has been known to help some people with those types of things for sure.
All right, so you just gave us a little preview on the requirements of being a flexologist. My question is, why would somebody choose to go that path as opposed to physical therapy or maybe any of the other areas that people could dive into with the
I
same
apologize to you.
same
It's a
skills?
little glitchy.
Am I coming across better now?
There we go. Yes, one more
Super.
time with that question, and
Okay.
I'll answer quickly.
What would cause someone with that kind of, kinesiology background to choose to go into stretching as opposed to physical therapy or any number of other things that you could do with that kind of education?
Absolutely. I think a lot of it has to do with, I can speak with just on my team alone. A lot of it has to do with what aligns with their ultimate goal in life. So you'll actually find a lot of people who have a kinesiology degree who may want to start working towards that physical therapy degree, which can take some time. So in the interim, to really be hands-on and work with clients, which is what I have found most flexologists, that's where their true heart lies, they'll seek us out. StretchLAB gives them the ability to go through a pretty rigorous training, which is a nationally accredited training as well, that they can come to us, get that training, get that knowledge, and work in tandem with their physical therapy degree that they're working towards. It's still kind of new. I get a lot of questions when we are hiring about like, so what are you guys?
Right.
We get that a lot. And then as soon as I say the first sentence, they're like, oh, got it. It just clicks with them. They understand that for sure.
Interesting. All right. So look, we are very happy that you guys chose Lake Forest, and specifically Foothill Ranch to open your store. But tell us a little bit about what that means to the community. What does StretchLAB bring that is unique to maybe other businesses that reside here?
I think StretchLAB, you'll always hear me say when I'm talking to like my front desk team and I'm training them on how to talk to people about what StretchLAB is and explain to new people walking in. I always tell them, I'm like, stretching for people is kind of a weird, because we are membership based. It's like a weird membership in people's minds to make up. Right. So people are like, so I'm going to come here once a week. Like they can do that for a row house or club Pilates. Like I'm going to show up 1 to 2 times a week and I'm going to work out. And then it's different than massage because people are like, okay, you're not massaging me, you're stretching me. Okay. What I tell my front desk team is just all we need to do is show them what this community is about. That to me is what I know I can say for certain for our store. And I've gotten good feedback on that from our members from our grand opening, that saying that that's why I joined. I figured that everything else, I knew you guys were going to take care of me, and I wasn't sure exactly how that was going to make my body feel, but I knew I wanted to be here because you guys created such a unique community and made me feel welcome and comfortable. That's what
Okay.
StretchLAB is about ultimately, is making people feel welcome to walk in and relax and just, take care of their bodies.
Right. All right. So one of the things that you listed as part of a membership with StretchLAB is this thing called compression therapy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, compression therapy is just such a unique therapy. I have had the privilege of talking therapy and other management positions I've had through a wellness center. But what it does is it's another tool that we utilize in overall recovery. It helps drain your lymphatic system. It's good for overall blood flow. It helps move lactic acid off the muscle. Really, really popular for all of our members. Not one member leaves here without doing it for at least 15 minutes after their stretch. But what they are these big old boots that you put on your leg. We have leg compression, hip compression, and arm compression as well.
Interesting. All right.
Yes, a very, very unique, effective tool.
All right, so let's say somebody gets involved in this and goes for their weekly appointment to get stretched. What can they do to ensure the lasting effects once the appointment's over?
Oh gosh, this connection is probably my connection. I wonder if it is mine.
I think it is, because on my side it's pretty fluid, but I'm connected in directly to my internet, so I don't have to worry
Okay,
about
there we
Wi-Fi.
go.
Yeah,
We're just gonna keep rolling with the phone.
right. Okay, so did you get that last question, or do you want me to give it to you again?
One more time, please. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
All right, so once you sign up, you go for your weekly appointment. What can someone do to kind of ensure the lasting effects of the stretching that they get?
Yeah.
Oh, now you're completely frozen.
I can do sure is just utilize all of the components that, okay. I'm thinking we're good now. I'm
Well,
thinking we're good.
Emily, I can hear you, but your picture is
I'm
frozen.
hoping we're good. Okay, I'm gonna keep talking then, and just let me know if anything changes. What they can really do is utilize all of the tools that we just give them. For example, StretchLAB comes with a unique app that you can download called Exponential Plus. And what it does is it gives all of our members access to on-demand stretching videos. These videos are recommended by our flexologists. They tell them to pop on there. Hey, we're working on your lower back issues. 3 specific stretches I want you to try on your, but right there, video, they can use that. We also offer certain stretching tools in our studio for sale. So the stretch strap and foam rollers and all sorts of things like that, that people can take home with them, that we can teach them how to use, and they can utilize those as well. And then, as with anything, just keeping your body healthy and moving, going for walks, proper nutrition, all those types of things are really going to help in that long-term progress.
Right. All right. So you mentioned a little earlier in the interview this system that called MAPS that you use with your customers. Can you tell us a little more about how that works? Why you start with that?
Yes, it's a unique way to start when people first come into us, because it's the tone for how we walk them to the back of the studio, and what is they stand in front of our very fancy iPad, but it has this program on it where we'll actually have them perform 3 simple squats. We don't expect perfection. I don't want anyone to be turned off by that, but what we do is we ask that you do a simple movement so the program can read, and it will give you all sorts of information from there. The big thing that it does is it gives you a score. We see what your overall score is. I think when I first stood in front of it, my score was maybe a 30. And that's on a scale of 1 to 100, like how my mobility was.
Right.
And it showed a knee impingement that I had, an ankle impingement. But yeah, we really want to set that tone for how serious we take it. We really want to make sure that people realize, like, we're not just here to just stretch you out and send you out the door. We want to actually empower you to know what's going on in your body. And the MAPS program does that.
Okay, very good. So it
Yeah.
kind of adds a little bit of a data center to what you're trying to work to improve.
Yes. Oh goodness. I'm putting myself on the spot. You're not doing it. MAPS actually stands for mobility, activation, posture, and symmetry. So those are the components that we're measuring. Yeah. So if people are like, what the heck, she keeps saying this word, we don't know what that means. That's what it stands for. That's what we're measuring.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Well, you know what? I think that's very neat that you guys have a kind of a structured program that the average person can stand and see the results of, because I think it adds a lot of credibility to what you do, as opposed to just looking at somebody and saying, oh, you need a little of this, a little of that. I mean, how do you know?
Yes, correct. And that is something that we do monthly for any of our customers. It's not just a one and done. We want to continuously give you a guide map to be able to see where you started and where you're heading with with.
All right. Okay, so I grew up in sports and working out for most of my young life, and I recognize the value of stretching early on, but other people might not. So what can you tell us about maybe some misconceptions around the benefits of stretching and what StretchLABs does to kind of remedy that?
Yeah, I think that it's a unique time in our culture. This is a time where more people are advocating for their own health and wellness and in alternative ways. So the fact that stretching is coming into that sphere in a very big way is kind of a unique time, and I'm very excited to be a part of that. But I can say that just from the past, which is not that long ago, honestly, that stretching in general had anything to do with health and wellness, and that it would even support your body in the same way that, IV therapy is blown up, cryotherapy is amazing, detox saunas, all of these things. But I think what people kind of have pushed to the side is just structurally being able to sit down and stand up, get out
Right,
of your
right,
car properly,
right.
just take the trash cans out without being in any pain. And I think that now that everyone's done everything else, for those types of things, now it's like really kind of unique. Like, oh no, this is also what we need to be doing for the long term. And then it's my favorite too, when kids come in, I have some El Toro High School volleyball players that come in here. We have Trabuco High basketball players that come in here, and track team members. Just being able to have kids in here who get it and understand the benefit of how this is going to help them is amazing, because they're telling their friends, they're posting on their social media, like, look where I am, I'm doing compression, here's my flexologist AJ, like all these types of things. It's so cool to have them just be more aware, because I think that a lot of kids in general are like, I'm young, I don't need it.
Yes.
So they're showing up in a big way saying like, oh yeah, you do, and it starts now. This is when it starts to be able to keep that long-term effect moving forward.
Now, we're several years out of the immediate pandemic, but just the after effect of so many people staying home, not getting out, probably developing much more of a sedentary lifestyle. Did you guys see any kind of a rise in terms of, of interest in getting the kind of help you provide for people who were stuck in that kind of lifestyle?
Absolutely. Yes. It's almost like when we're out in the community too, and we're doing a pop-up event, partnering with another local business, and that people's eyes are just popping out of their head. Like, I didn't know this existed. I didn't know I needed this. I can't believe, and we're doing just quick little 15-minute demo stretches when we're out and about in the community.
Right.
And they're getting it in those 15 minutes. there absolutely has been a big rise on this. I was fortunate enough to work for another established StretchLAB before I decided to join and open this store. So even there too, just the community, just like, I don't know what I would have done. Some people were stretching through the pandemic because they knew that they could not let that part of them deteriorate.
Right.
Doing everything that they could to just desperately hang on to this. And then when we all came out of it, yeah, they're bringing friends, they're bringing family members, they're just shoving them into the studio. Like, you don't understand until you're on the bench. You have to try this.
Wow. Cool. Well, listen, this has been a very enlightening conversation. And for people who are watching and are really interested in checking this out, what's the best way for them to do that?
To give us a phone call, or, to look us up, give us a phone call. We always invite people in. I tell people, if you're curious, even in the slightest, try an
Emily, unfortunately we're losing you. I can see you, but you're very choppy.
Goodness gracious. Well, if we ever have the chance to do this again, I'll know what to do better.
You know what? And I probably should have suggested it earlier. Sometimes just disconnecting and coming back in can fix the problem. It's kind of like rebooting, if you get any problem, just reboot. But no, I think, look, I think we definitely got 90% of the things that you wanted to talk about, which I think will be more than enough for people to really take a look at what you do and say, that's something I'm really interested in, something I probably need. And I can tell you with another physical fitness place that I joined a couple of years ago, I think they had that map system that you're talking about. And I was absolutely shocked at how much I had lost symmetry between one side of my body and the other, just from a muscle development standpoint and a posture standpoint. So that was a big wake-up call for me in terms of just doing a few things different every single day to try to correct that. So I'm sure if they get into that with you guys, they'll learn a whole host of things that will just make them better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, folks, listen, that brings us to the end of our show today.
Yes, absolutely. That's so exciting. It's good to know that other places are going to know their bodies in that way.
Cool. Well, Emily, listen, thanks for being with us today. We appreciate you taking your time, and we were very happy to introduce you to the rest of the Lake Forest community. Hopefully that will show up in people who are coming to visit and learn more about what you guys do. Folks, that brings us to the end of our show today. We will be back 2 weeks from now with another small business here in Lake Forest that has a completely different and unique service that you'll probably want to know about. So join us then. In the meantime, you can, if you stay hooked to the Lake Forest Chamber Facebook page, you not only learn about these shows coming up, but other events that the city of Lake Forest and the Chamber are putting on to keep the business community really vibrant and connected and keep us all growing as a community. So thanks for being with us today. Emily, thanks again for being with us, and we wish you a lot of luck. And if there's anything else the Chamber can do for you, make sure you reach out to us, because that's what we're here for.
Thank you, Steve, so much.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.